Welcome back to Court TV Live. Busy Tuesday here. We're talking Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, also waiting on the judge to go back onto the bench in the Mario Batali case up in Boston. Plus, the missing inmate who escaped from an Alabama jail with the help of a corrections officer / girlfriend. He's now back in police custody. She's dead, sadly, killed herself, according to U.S. Marshals. They caught up with the pair on Monday after getting a tip that they were in Evansville, Indiana. Casey White and Vicki White, no relation, were missing for 11 days. It all ended with a car chase and their car crashing into a ditch. The inmate was captured fairly quickly at the scene, and she, according to the U.S. Marshals, shot herself and killed herself. It was self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Casey White will be brought back to Alabama to face new charges. He'll be held at a different facility than the one that he escaped at. Alabama Sheriff Rick Singleton spoke about his reaction on how the manhunt ended.
I'm very disappointed that it ended this way with Vicki taking her life. That's not something we would have wished on her. We did want her to come back here and face the charges. You know, knowing Vicki the way we've known her over the last several years, I think as much concern to her about coming back and facing charges, I think what really bothered her more was coming back and facing her family and friends. You know, she betrayed her co-workers. She betrayed the sheriff's office. And knowing her like I did, I don't think she could bear the thought of coming back here and facing us. What in the world was she thinking? You know, she's been in corrections 17 years. She's seen this scenario play out time after time where people escape, and she knew they always got caught. You know, I think she knew that the day was going to come that they were going to get caught. So I just don't understand it, and I don't know that I ever will. When I got word that they had been captured and that she was injured and had been shot, you know, I think that she pretty much was on life support from that moment on. All the information I've received is that it was self-inflicted, but I'm sure forensics will determine that for a certainty. This whole fiasco is just totally so out of character for her. You know, her friends, her family, I mean, you know, we're all just devastated by the fact that she would do something like this to start with. And, of course, we're devastated that she's taken her life. Most jail escapes, especially from county jails, are not well planned out. They're more, you know, get out of here, and then they get out and they, you know, say, what do I do now? This was a different kind of escape. I mean, it was very well calculated and you know, planned. And, you know, most inmates, when they get out of jail, they have absolutely no resources. You know, they're on the run. They don't have a car waiting for them. They don't have thousands of dollars in cash in their pocket. They don't have fresh clothes to change into. You know, so that really presented some real challenges for the investigation and the search, because they had so many resources at their disposal. The last person in the world any of us thought would have pulled a stunt like this was Vicki White. She was a by-the-book employee, and for her to do something like this is just, you know, we just can't comprehend it.
And the inmate in question here referred to, according to some reporting, to Vicki as his wife, telling the investigators that tracked them down to check on her, saying that she had shot herself. C.K. Hoffler and Aaron Nelson still with us. This was such a wild case because, you know, as the sheriff was talking about, yeah, usually it's a day or two, and then the person runs into some trouble of resources. Every now and then you get an Eric Rudolph who can live in the woods for months, but by and large, this was a different scenario. For the inmate here, Aaron, will now face all new charges, but at the end of the day, will he end up likely back in the same prison, or will they make sure he's not back? He escaped from a jail, not from the prison. He escaped from a jail. What typically would happen in a case like this? These are state charges, right? Even though it was the feds that tracked him down.
Yeah, I don't know Alabama in particular, but I imagine he's going back to the county where he's charged with the original crime. They may have some discretion because they could charge him with multiple other crimes as a result of this new escape, and based upon that, can they then put him in a different county jail? Is there the potential for federal charges because of what they did and cross state lines, something more complicated? So I would imagine they want him back in the same county jail because to some degree you heard from this sheriff, he has to prove that he's capable of keeping somebody in custody. And I think that was very important to him. He made some obviously self-serving statements about how difficult it was to pick them up because they had such a good plan, or perhaps they just didn't pick him up right away. But I imagine he's going to go right back where they were so that they can either punish him in some indiscreet way, or whether they can just make sure that they prove to the public, like, we can hold somebody in custody. This was an aberration and it's not going to happen again.
CK, the idea for some that a corrections officer could fall in love with an inmate is so foreign, but the reality is these are workplaces that you spend hours and hours and months, and in these cases years, with other human beings and individuals, and love can make you do some crazy things. The fact that she did this is not that uncommon, is it not? That the relationships are formed on many levels between prison staff and prisoners. They're together.
Absolutely. You know, Ted, this is not uncommon at all. In fact, as you said, this is a workplace situation. It's an unusual workplace because it's in a corrections facility, but nonetheless, it's a workplace and it does happen. What's probably is so unusual is the escape plan, because of the chances. They both must have known that at some point they would be caught, but they had a pretty well orchestrated plan. So it's not unusual. It's unfortunate that it happened. I would imagine that there will be federal charges levied against him and that he would not return to the same facility, because that would be adding insult to injury for law enforcement, even though I understand where the county officials want to prove something. But this case is now, because they did cross state lines and because of all the multiplicity of charges that could be launched against him, I think this would be escalated and elevated to the federal level, without a question.
Yeah. All right, well, we say just a strange 11-day odyssey for the whole country looking for these two people.